In this lesson, we're looking at writing linear equations when we're given 2 points, and we're going to use the point-slope formula. So let's get started. So to write a linear equation that passes through 2 points, or when we're given 2 points, we have to use the slope formula in order to find the slope. And the slope formula is right here. It is m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over or divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we simply take our two ordered pairs and plug it into that formula. And slope is denoted by the letter m. And once we find the slope, we're going to plug it into the point slope formula for m, and then take one of our ordered pairs and plug it in for y sub 1 and x sub 1. So let's try some problems. Okay, so the first example I have here, it says to write the equation of the line that passes through the given 2 points and point slope, and then we want to take this information or that information and change it to slope-intercept form. And remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. But before we do that, we want to find the slope, because in both of our formulas here, we have slope. So we need to use the slope formula to find slope, and I have it right here. And I'm going to label my ordered pairs x1, y1, x2, y2, and simply plug it into this formula here. So y2 is 5 minus y1 is 6. I'm circling it up here. x2 is 2. x1 is 1. And just simplifying, 5 minus 6 is negative 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. Of course, that reduces to negative 1. When you have different signs, it's going to reduce to a negative. And my slope is negative 1. So now I want to take that slope and write an equation in point-slope form. And remember, point-slope form, I have it right here. So I'm going to take the slope that I found, which was negative 1, and I'm going to take one of my ordered pairs and replace it with this y sub 1 and x sub 1. So now I'm going to take my first ordered pair right here. And you can use either one, but I'm just going to use the first one right here. Okay, and just replace my x1 and y1. So that will be y minus, so remember, in every ordered pair you have an x and a y. My y value here is 6 equals m. M is my slope that I found here. That is negative 1. And x minus my x value is 1. And so this is my equation in point slope form. And you could pick the second one. It does not matter because that equation or that ordered pair goes through the line as well. And now I want to write it in slope-intercept. So I simply solve for y. I bring down at y minus 6. I'm going to distribute this negative 1 through. So negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. And the last step to solve for y, I want to do inverse operations. So since this is a minus 6, I'm adding 6. And I can only add it to that 1 because that's the like term. I can't combine it with the x because that 6 does not have an x. It is not a like term. So 1 plus 6 is 7. And I have this equation in slope-intercept form. And remember, slope-intercept form, as I mentioned earlier, is y equals mx plus b. And again, you can still see that m is negative 1 for my slope. And just as an added piece, my y-intercept, which is b, is 7. So that is where that graph will cross the y-axis there. And so I have rewritten or given you two equations, one in point slope and slope-intercept form, using two ordered pairs. All right, so I have one more that I'm going to do with you before I have you try one on your own. So again, we're given these two ordered pairs, and we want to do the same thing by writing an equation in point slope and slope-intercept. So labeling, I always do that first. x1, y1, x2, y2. Plugging it into slope formula. y2 is negative 5, y1 is 1, x2 is 0, and x1 is negative 8. So since I have a negative in my formula right here, and I have a negative 8, that is going to be a plus 8 because that minus negative is going to make that a plus. And then simplify. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. 0 plus 8, of course, is just 8. And always reduce. And so my slope is 3/4. Okay. So m is negative 3/4. Now I want to write an equation in point slope. And I'm going to pick the second equation this time. So point slope y, so my y1. And again, when you're writing it in point slope, it doesn't matter what's y1 and what's y2. I just use that for the slope. So in this case, my y value is negative 5. So since that's a negative 5, that is going to be a double negative, which would make it a plus 5. Plugging in my slope, which is here, and that is negative 3/4. Bring down that x, and my x value that I'm using is 0. And I really don't need the 0, so I'm just going to actually rewrite that. So actually, point slope form, I could leave it this way, but to make it a little more simple, if I distribute the 3/4 through, it would just look like this. So that's simplest form. So that's point slope. And now converting that to slope intercept. Notice I don't have a like term for my 5. So I'm just going to subtract 5 from both sides here, right? But I don't have anything to subtract it from, so I just bring down that negative 3/4 x and that minus 5 because I don't have anything to subtract it from. So I leave it separate, and that is my equation in slope intercept. And so I have one in point slope, which is right here, and one in slope intercept, which is right here. All right, so now let's try one on your own. Okay, so the last problem here I would like for you to try on your own. So go ahead and pause the video and try this problem on your own. Alright, so I have the answers here. I have the problem written in point slope and slope intercept form. So go ahead and pause the video and check your work. I hope you get them correct. We've reached the end of our lesson, and I want to thank you for learning with me.